In the last class, we have seen the pharyngeal apparatus. So, related to the pharyngeal apparatus, continuing with the head and neck embryology, we will see in this class the development of the face, nasal cavity, and the palate. Still now, there is no face development, and we have seen already only there is a stomodium. So, the face now develops around the stomodium by the five processes: the frontonasal process, a pair of maxillary process, and a pair of mandibular arches. So around the stomodium, all these processes now will develop and they will contribute to the main development of the face. So the mandibular arches we have seen in the pharyngeal arches class, it is the first arch and it will give rise to a pair of maxillary process. So this first arch is also contributing mainly to the development of the face. If you see in the beginning stage of development of face, that is at about the fourth week, that you are seeing in this image the stomodium. Stomodium is bounded on the cephalic side by the bulging of the forebrain vesicle and caudally by the ventral ends of the mandibular arch or the first arch. So there is no face development at about the fourth week. Now at the beginning of the fifth week, this face development starts. So during the fifth week, the mesenchyme, which covers the caudal surface of the hindbrain vesicle, proliferates together with the overlying surface ectoderm will form the frontonasal process. So the process means it's a core of mesenchyme covered by the surface ectoderm. So this is how the frontonasal process has developed. In the frontonasal process, on either side of the median plane or on either side of the midline, now the surface elevation called as olfactory placodes. So the placodes means they are the surface elevations of any special senses like optic placodes, otic placodes, we will be telling olfactory placodes. They will be the mainly this related to the special sensory sense. So in here now the olfactory placodes on either side of the midline of the frontonasal process have developed. So this olfactory placodes, it's a first elevation, then this grows into the uh, underlying mesenchyme as the olfactory pits, so that now this medial nasal process is divided into two parts. Medial nasal process in the midline, on either side of this olfactory pits, lateral nasal processes. So this frontonasal process now have been divided into medial nasal process and lateral nasal process by the olfactory pits. From the lower part of the medial nasal process, a small globular processes also develop. So in this image, you try to see mainly the olfactory pits or nasal pit, which has given rise to the medial nasal process and lateral nasal process. In some books, it is given as median nasal process, but in reference to Gray's anatomy, I have used the term medial nasal process. So this medial nasal process, lateral nasal process, and globular processes are developing simultaneously from the dorsal part of the mandibular arches on the cephalic side. The pair of maxillary process develop. So this maxillary process fuse with the lateral nasal process. When they fuse, a solid cellular cord or a solid ectodermal cord, that is called naso-optic furrow, that will be dipping inside, so that they will be forming lateral upon the canalization. It will be forming the nasolacrimal duct. Nasolacrimal duct and lacrimal apparatus will be developing in the similar way. So when this maxillary process fuse with the lateral nasal process, what is that part of the face which is going to develop on either side of the nasal cavity? What is that part of the face will be called as cheeks. So now in this you can clearly see this a maxillary process is fusing with the lateral nasal process. When they fuse, that black color is a solid ectodermal card that is dipping into the underlying mesenchyme, which will be forming the on lateral canalization will be forming the nasolacrimal duct. Now, this in the previous image, again you try to see this globular processes and the medial nasal processes have been given rise to a small globular process in the lower part. This globular processes and maxillary processes, if they fuse, what will be formed? Upper lip. So upper lip and also the philtrum formed from the globular process and the lateral part of the maxillary process. Lower lip is entirely derived from the mandibular arches and upper lip is triple in origin. The central part is from the globular process and on the lateral parts by the maxillary process. So in this, again, the development of face is, we can see clearly in this. This green color indicates the frontonasal process. The frontonasal process have given rise to the medial nasal process and the lateral nasal process by the formation of the olfactory pits. So the nasal processes have been given in this diagram by the yellow color. The this lower part of the medial nasal process have given rise to the globular process, which have given rise to the philtrum and the middle part of the upper lip. This blue color represents the maxillary process. The maxillary processes are fused with the lateral nasal process so that they will form the cheek. The maxillary process also will give rise to the lateral parts of the upper lip. The mandibular process the mandibular process will give rise to the lower lip and the chin. So the face development is complete by the 8 weeks. So we have completed the development of the face by the 5 process. So in this middle of the face, we have already told how the olfactory pits and olfactory placodes give rise to the olfactory pits. That will be the main development of the nasal cavity. When there's all these facial rudiments or in the process of fusion, this olfactory pits is extending dorsally into the mesenchyme as the nasal sacs on either side of the medial nasal process. The caudal surface of the nasal sac comes in close contact with the epithelial roof of the stomodium, separated by the thin bucconasal membrane. When this bucconasal membrane ruptures, the nasal sacs communicate with the stomodium by the primitive posterior nares. To complete this nasal cavity, we have seen in the previous development of the face, we told medial nasal process. So this medial nasal process will give rise to the now the nasal septum, and the lateral nasal processes will give rise to the ala of the nasal cavity. In this lateral wall of the nasal cavity, laterally, 3 shelf-like projections concave will develop, and in relation to this, the sinuses related to the nasal cavity is also develop in the later stage. So to complete this development of the nasal cavity, we have seen this nasal sacs is growing deeper into the mesenchyme to be separated first by the thin bucconasal membrane, and laterally that when the bucconasal membrane ruptures, primitive posterior nares develop. And the medial nasal process will give rise to the nasal septum, and the lateral nasal process will give rise to the ala of the nose. This completes the development of the nasal cavity. I think you are clear in this development of the face and the nasal cavity. Now we will continue with the development of the palate, which is a very important theory question in first MBBS. Development of hard palate. So the palate consists of two parts, hard palate and soft palate. First we will see hard palate, then we will complete with the soft palate. It develops by two parts. One is the primitive palate or the premaxilla. What is this primitive palate or premaxilla? Is the fusion of the globular swellings. We have already seen these globular swellings or globular processes which are derived from the medial nasal process have given rise to the philtrum and the central part of the upper lip. It also gives rise to the another part, third derivative, primitive palate or the premaxilla. If you ask in the adult what is this primitive palate or the premaxilla, the part of the palate which carries the four incisors, upper four incisors, is derived from the primitive palate. Then secondary palate will be derived from the formation of lateral palatine processes of on either sides of the maxillary processes during the sixth week. So in this image, in the first image, the yellow color represents the primitive palate or the premaxilla, and that orange color represents the secondary palate, which is an outgrowth from the inwards, not in the outer side of the face. It is the outgrowth on the inner side of the face, that from the maxillary processes. So that two palatine shelf-like processes are developing, but they are not able to meet with each other. You can see in the image the developing tongue rudiments are preventing them to fuse with each other. So they are now growing in the caudal direction on either side of the tongue rudiments by the sixth week. Now the definitive palate will be formed after this tongue rudiments are retracting, and also by the ventral protrusion of the chin. Now the time for the fusion of the primitive palate and the secondary palate will start in the seventh week. They fuse in the Y-shaped manner from before backwards, so that when the fusion has completed, the palate is now, we are having ventral 3/4, which will be attached to the nasal septum, will be called as the hard palate, which will be ossified in the later stage, and the dorsal 1/4 of the palate, which is not fusing with the nasal septum, and it is hanging like a curtain, and it is developing its muscles from the third pharyngeal arch, so that it will be formed as the soft palate. So this picture develops the development of the this picture depicts the development of the hard palate by the two parts, premaxilla or primitive palate, and in the dorsal part by the secondary palate by the shelf-like projections, lateral shelf-like projections of palatine processes from the maxillary process. You can see in this how can they fuse. When they fuse, they are fusing in the Y-shaped manner from the before to backwards. The hard palate fusion is complete by the eighth week. So we have finished the development of the face, nasal cavity, and the palate, and few interesting congenital abnormalities of the face. I think you will be knowing, or you should have seen hair lip. Hair lip or the cleft lip. Hair lip or the cleft lip, if I tell, so you can think of it may be of the upper lip or the lower lip. So which lip is common, do you think? The upper lip is the common and the lower lip is the rare. Again, in this upper lip, we can have in the central part or in the lateral part. So central part, how do they develop? Now you should recollect. They develop by the two globular processes. They don't fuse, then the central hair lip will occur. Then how the lateral cleft lip will occur? The globular process should fuse with the maxillary process to form the upper lip. If it is not fusing, then we may have the lateral cleft lip. Then what is this facial cleft? Anybody can tell? Yes, it is by the fusion of the this cheeks are formed by the fusion of the lateral nasal process and the maxillary process. You just think that is not fusing, then it will give rise to the oblique facial cleft. Macrostomia, that is having wide mouth. So this mouth will be formed by the fusion of the or the angles of the mouth is formed by the fusion of the maxillary process and the mandibular process. If they don't fuse and leaving a wide opening, then it will be called as macrostomia. If they fuse more, leading to the microstomia. But this microstomia is maybe the interesting small or a small mouth or a very little mouth in cine actors. You should have observed. And the next abnormality will be the cleft palate. So we have already seen the palate is formed by the fusion of the premaxilla and the palatine processes. If they don't fuse, we may have the cleft palate and the types of the cleft palate. In this, cleft lip is mainly um, common in the males and it may be related to the age of the mother. The causes of the cleft lip may be the congenital, hereditary, or the environmental factors. Cleft palate is observed more in the females and it is not related to the age of the mother and it is mainly related to the environmental factors. For example, hypervitaminosis or the steroid therapy may cause this cleft palate. So this is the cleft lip image, lateral cleft lip. So what is the cause? The non-fusion of the globular process and the maxillary process. This is a central cleft lip which is very rare, formed by the non-fusion of the globular processes. Cleft palate may be unilateral, bilateral, or it may be incomplete or complete. So this is the image of the oblique facial, the cleft lip leading to the oblique facial cleft also. So in this, the maxillary process have not fused on the one side with the globular process and also with the lateral nasal process. So these are the various congenital abnormalities in the development of the face, nasal cavity and the palate. I think you should have understood this important topic and it is a simple topic also. Face develops by the five processes, frontonasal process, a pair of maxillary process and a pair of mandibular process. So in this also we saw this development of the palate also. So the remaining parts of this are related to the development of the mouth and the glands. We will see in the next class.